Welcome to Panama. Thank you for flying United.
Gentlemen, it is Tosin Oduwole, and this is the Daily Hustle. We are back in Panama for the Panama series, Panama edition. I'm not really sure what we're going to call it, but we're going to figure it out. But right now, I'm going to go over with you guys how to open an offshore bank account and also how you move your money offshore, or how you get your money into your offshore bank account. Now, the reason you'd want to do this is obviously for tax purposes. If you don't want to pay income tax, if you don't want to give Uncle Sam a big chunk of that money you've worked so hard for, there are legal ways in order to do this. So there's a big difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax evasion is a crime. So we're not going to talk about any tax evasion tactics. No, I'm not going to help you do that because that makes me an accessory. But what we are going to talk about is tax avoidance, which is perfectly legal in the United States and other countries. So, number one, when you're opening an offshore account, number one, you have to pick which country you want your bank account to be in. So there are several different tax shelters around the world. Some of the most common ones that we know about are the Cayman Islands and Switzerland, which I believe nowadays are not the best places to have offshore accounts because they've signed treaties with the US that have kind of like, decreased the level of amount of secrecy which they once had, like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I would not recommend Switzerland or the Cayman Islands. However, Central America has now rise to kind of take the place of Switzerland and the Cayman Islands as far as being the best place to take your money offshore. Countries like Belize, countries like Panama, I believe the Bahamas is still really good. And if you want to go far out to the other side of the globe, the Cook Islands, which is, I think that's a principality that is a part of Australia or New Zealand. The Cook Islands have a wonderful banking industry that has high secrecy laws. Secrecy laws meaning that if a United States or a foreign government contacted them and said, hey, we want information on any of your American account holders, that government would basically say, screw you. And so that's where, those are the countries, those are the places where you want to put your money at, all right? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I'm in Panama. I'm biased to Panama. I think Panama has one of the best banking industries in Central America, or actually in the world. And so I'm going to talk to you about how you would do it if you were in Panama. I believe the same rules apply if you wanted to go to Belize or something like that. So, in Panama, it's basically, the way you open an account is the same way you'd open an account in the United States. You go to that country, you bring your passport, you bring your driver's license, you bring whatever, identification you have, your birth certificate maybe, and you walk into a bank, you take your minimum deposit, which usually is $50, $100, and you open an account. It's that simple. There's nothing, I know the term and the word offshore account, it sounds so like exotic and it sounds so sexy, and you think that you have to do a lot of stuff to make it happen, but it's really not. If somebody is from Panama and they open an account in New York, that New York account at Bank of America or Wells Fargo is an offshore account. So number one, you just have to get out of your mind that offshore, it means that it's only for people that are super rich. With $50 or $100, you can have an offshore account. So you walk into a bank, you bring your identification, and you open an account. You fill out some paperwork. They're gonna ask you your name, of course, the address. You have to use an address that's a local in that country, and that's how you open the account. Simple. It's really that simple. You can do it in 20 minutes. And so the way that you would fund the account, the way that you would get the money in the account, that's where you really have to be careful to make sure you're not breaking the law. So there's a few ways that you can deposit money into your offshore account. The easiest way, probably the number one way, probably the way that, common sense would tell you, is that you can just send an international wire transfer. So you would just go to your bank in the States or in London or wherever you live, and you just send a wire transfer, an ACH transfer from your account to your account offshore. Simple. The reason why this is probably one of the most easiest ways, because there really aren't any limits on the amount of what a wire transfer can be. You can send a wire transfer for as little as $50, and you can send one for as high as $5 million. So there's really, or even higher. So there really is no limit to how much money you can send with the wire transfer. The only drawback to that is that since you would be sending that wire transfer from your home country bank, your banking institution will know how much money you're sending overseas, and they'll know you're sending it overseas. And if your banking institution knows, then the IRS will know. And so sometimes U.S. banks, they get kind of suspicious, or they get scared if their account holders are moving their money overseas. It doesn't mean they're doing anything illegal, doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong, but a red flag goes off that, hey, let's find out why these guys are doing this. So there's not really a lot of secrecy when you do it that way. All right, so the second way is probably the easiest way, and it's simply you go overseas with your debit card or your ATM card from your American bank. You go to an ATM and you pull out the money. Simple as that. Now, the only thing with that is that it may take a lot longer to get money out of the account, because there are limits in the amount that you can take out from U.S. banks. It's like $500 or $600, $1,000. So you do want to be mindful of the withdrawal limits for your bank in the States. Another way, if I get this computer to come up, so another easy way is that you can just simply write a check to yourself. Take a check from your bank that's here in the States, write it to yourself, Tosin Oduwole, I don't know, $450,000, okay? And take it with you to your offshore bank. You can either travel to that country, or you can endorse it and put it in the mail and mail in your deposit as a mail-in deposit, and you can deposit it that way. Now, since it would be an international check, it may take upwards of a week or maybe 2 weeks for it to clear, but it will be there. And another way is that if you do have a job, or you're getting paid for contract work, you can have your direct deposits directly deposited into your offshore bank account. So when you have a job and your employer gives you a form where you put in your routing number and your account number, your name and address and all that stuff, so they can do a direct deposit automatically, you can just put in the information for your offshore account. So anytime you're getting paid, instead of it going to your home account, it can go to your offshore account. And so those are 4 of the most easiest ways to open up a bank account offshore and then get money into your bank account offshore. And the reason why you'd even want to do this is because, look, we're entering into a time in the world where we're not really sure what's gonna happen. There's a lot of globalization. The internet has just changed a lot of things, and so it would be smart to not just have all your cash or all your investments, or to have your whole entire financial house just built on American soil. You kind of do want to spread out and have things in different places. Not saying this is going to be an Armageddon and the American economy is going to collapse tomorrow. That probably won't happen. I'm pretty sure the American economy is one of the strongest economies on the face of the planet, regardless of the little ups and downs that we go through. But still, you still want to have just bits and pieces of your net worth, of your liquidity in other places, just in case. You never really plan for the future until the future's already happened, and you don't really want to fall victim to that if, God forbid, something happens. Maybe there's a crash, maybe there's something happens where our banking industry collapses, and for a certain amount of time we just can't access money, or we can't access anything. You would be screwed if you have all your money tied up in American banks. And so I know it's kind of far-fetched, and it probably won't happen, but still, And so, hey, I hope I was able to fill you guys in and help you guys out, introducing the basics of opening an offshore account for $100. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Tosin Panama edition. We out.